Hillary Clinton couldn't get back to the campaign trail a moment too soon. With all the other issues she has, she didn't really need that health issue to pop up there. Now it appears that Donald Trump has gained a bunch of momentum, and now she's got to figure out a way to stop his momentum and start her own momentum up. This debate that's coming up, the first one, because the first one is really the one that counts. I mean, unless you really blew up in that first one, and you can come back and blow the other person up in the second one. But the first one is the one that most people remember. Here's Chuck Todd, and he's going to interview Joel Berenson, Clinton's, I guess, chief campaign person. And he's going to do a little spin for Clinton as well.
Return to the stump is not a moment too soon for Democrats. Trump is gaining ground everywhere you look. With just 11 days to go before the first debate, you could even argue there might be a reason for some in the Clinton world to, well, maybe use the P word, panic. Before she spoke with reporters, Clinton held her first big rally since being sidelined with pneumonia. Speaking to a raucous crowd in North Carolina, it was a much different Clinton than the one we last saw on the trail when she was slamming half of Trump's supporters as deplorables. Clinton spoke about why she's running for president and what she would like to do if she wins.
It's great to be back on the campaign trail. I'll never be the showman my opponent is, and that's okay with me. Just look at the show he put on with Dr. Oz today. But I am going to deliver for you and your family. People accuse me of all kinds of things. You probably have seen that. But nobody ever accuses me of quitting. And I will never give up.
That said, she still made her speech a lot about Trump and hit him many times. Here's just a few.
We don't need someone who rushes out a half-baked plan. Are we going to put a loose cannon in charge? My opponent keeps running us down. My opponent has America all wrong. There's nothing we can't do when we come together as one nation, set big goals, and pursue them.
Clinton's promise to focus more on why she's running for president comes amid drastic evidence that the campaign's thump Trump strategy may have been faltering. Trump is surging in battleground states right now. In Iowa, new poll has Trump up 8 in Monmouth University. Ohio, 3 consecutive polls this week have Trump grabbing the lead. The latest is 42-39 in today's Suffolk poll. You saw 46-41 in CNN, 44-39 Bloomberg. In Florida, Trump is up 3 points according to that same CNN poll. Clinton's lead nationally is shrinking, but she is still ahead nationally. Race is tied according to a new CBS New York Times poll, and Clinton's lead is just 2 points in a new Quinnipiac poll. By the way, we gave you all 4 ways on that one, and we know that there are those Democrats that want to argue about the sampling of these things, but folks, the trend line is 100% clear. And by the way, history may be repeating itself for the Clinton campaign. In the primary, Clinton seemed to struggle at times to put Sanders away. She struggled with messaging, and oh, by the way, she struggled with millennials. All of that underscored panic at different moments in time during the primary. Well, now here we are in the general. Clinton is struggling with messaging. Oh, by the way, she's struggling with millennials. And here we go. Donald Trump has new life. But if you're a Clinton supporter, there's another aspect of history repeating itself. If there is one thing about her, she gets better as a candidate when her back is up against the wall. I'm joined now by Clinton.
All right, real quick. Ohio, it's all going to depend on the voter turnout. If they invest the money to get the black vote out and a Hispanic vote out, especially in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, I said Cleveland and Pittsburgh, particularly Cleveland and the suburbs around Cleveland, they are not going to have a major problem. It will obviously be close. But the way that Cleveland and its surrounding suburbs goes, that's basically the way that Ohio is going to go. All right, so that polling may or may not be accurate. I'm not going to try to dispute the polls. I just know which way the vote turns when the Democrats get a big vote out of Cleveland and its suburbs. Okay, as far as Florida is concerned, I absolutely don't believe that those polls are accurate. The reason for that is the fact that there are thousands of Puerto Ricans pouring into Florida at this time because of the financial situation in the island of Puerto Rico. Those Puerto Ricans are going to vote for Hillary Clinton, which is going to diminish the effect that the Cuban community has because they overwhelmingly go Republican. So if you negate those, that Florida race is basically going to be a toss-up. It just depends on how many of those Puerto Ricans get in there and register by the time that the election rolls around. As far as, again, Pennsylvania is concerned, you got Pittsburgh and you got Philadelphia. And if Clinton gets the vote out in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is a done deal. Trump has got to run all of the contested states, and then he's got to flip something. And he's got to flip something that's got to be pretty substantial. All right, here is the discussion on this situation via Chuck Todd's panel.
Campaign Senior Strategist Joel Berenson. Joel, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. Always good to see you.
I apologize. It is Joel Berenson, and he's going to do a little spin here.
So what would you say to Democrats who see 3 consecutive polls in Ohio? We've seen Florida. The trend line is clear. You guys are not just the ones eroding. He's now picking up. And do you think this is all due to what happened last weekend, or is this an accumulation of things? What do you attribute it to?
Yeah, well, I disagree with your assessment a bit, Chuck. I don't think the trend line is clear. I think there have been polls up and down in every one of these states. This race has tightened up since the conventions, as I always said it would, and I always said it would be a close race in low to mid single digits. That's what we expect. What we're seeing here right now are 2 candidates who are entering another phase. It is going to be a comparison all the way through. But look, we've and Chuck, you know me pretty well, and I don't put a lot of faith in the public polls. You know that.
No,
When polls have been too high on other networks, I've said your polls are wrong. Back in 2012, at my shop on the Obama campaign, we used to refer to the public polls as monkey polls because they jump around so much.
Joel, but this isn't a jumping around. Everything is
no, it is not everything, because 3 days ago, you had a week ago, your NBC polls were different from some of the ones that you're talking about.
But the directional was the same. Everything is tight.
But Chuck, I said the race is tightened since the convention. There's no doubt about it, and it's in the range that we expect it to be. We think this will be a low to mid single digit race. Presidential elections always are, Chuck. We have had very few blowouts. Even I point out in 2000 when George Bush lost the popular vote by a bit, he won 271 electoral votes. That's what this is about, and we are playing more offense on the map, and we will continue to win 270 electoral votes. We have more states where we're making them play defense, states they must win, including states like Virginia and North Carolina, where we are ahead in both of those, and those are must-win states for them, along with Pennsylvania. We are winning in all of those.
I don't know where you're winning. The only North Carolina poll you'd be ahead in would be your own, because every other public poll this week has shown for what it's worth. So you feel that confident that you're ahead in North Carolina and that all the public polls there are wrong?
I think we're on offense in North Carolina. I do.
Let me ask you the issue of whether there's been too much of a reliance on messaging of just being anti-Trump. Is it fair to say that when it comes to get out the vote efforts and you look at the issue among African-American millennials, that poll that leaked out, we saw it in our own polls about Latinos, there's clearly they're not yet engaged for some reason, one reason or the other. Millennials, you've seen those numbers where Gary Johnson is actually doing better among millennials than Donald Trump, but more importantly, he's basically neck and neck with Hillary Clinton. Is this basically a miscalculation on the Trump strategy that you thought hating Trump would be enough for these groups?
Okay, before he goes into his answer, Chuck is right as far as the black millennials and the Hispanic millennials. The Clinton campaign has not invested any noticeable amount of money in getting out the black vote, and in particular the black millennials and the Hispanic millennials. And various people in those communities have complained about the lack of funding in order to get that vote out. Now, if she loses, okay, and can't run up that black and Hispanic votes in various communities, she's going to have nobody to blame but herself because of them being, I don't even know if it's too cheap because they got plenty of money, just being short-sighted in their belief that Trump's own comments are going to drive black millennials and Hispanic millennials to the polls. I don't think that that is in fact the case, even though, yes, the polling shows that black people in general can't stand Trump and won't vote for him. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will vote for Clinton. And the same situation with the Hispanic millennials. Now, here's Berenson's answer.
Well, first of all, again, I have a different view of the campaign. I think, the other night, I think it was on your show or your network, put up a diagram of how many policies Trump had put out and how many pages versus Hillary Clinton. She has talked about everything from how we get down college debt, a real detailed plan about how we create jobs of the future. And she's laid out an agenda about K through 12 education, family leave, and really taking on climate change in a way where we can create clean energy jobs in a way that makes America the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. So I don't think it has been all Trump. It's been very much about Hillary Clinton, how we build an economy that works for everyone, not those at the top. That being said, there are two candidates running here. He has run a far more negative campaign. You can look at any poll. People will tell you that. It hasn't helped him on his favorable ratings. He has a higher unfavorable rating than anybody. I think it's largely because of the kind of divisive, negative campaign he's run and who he's consorted with during the course of that campaign, including some elements like the extreme right wing, white nationalists retweeting them. But this is a choice. There are two very different visions. She wants to build an economy that works for everyone. Today he announced he wants massive tax cuts for big corporations in America who are already experiencing record profits while keeping wages low for workers. Like, that's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for more of the same, driving our deficit through the roof, which even Republican economists today, I think right before I was on your show, a Republican from Reagan's administration said it will increase the deficit and that will cost us jobs.
Let me ask you to respond to something Joe Klein wrote today in Time magazine. He said this of Hillary Clinton: she seems to see the American people in groups as a collection, a basket, if you will, of grievances, contrary to the strong pretense of optimism that was conveyed during the Democratic convention. There is no joy to her campaign, no uplift. What would you tell Joe why, if you believe he's wrong about that?
I think Joe should get out on the stump more and watch closely every day what she's been talking about. Hillary Clinton, unlike others who want to talk down America, talks up America all the time. She has said repeatedly, we are the greatest country on earth. We've never stopped being great. But as a country, we are always at our best when we lift people up, not tear people down. When we have each other's backs, when we don't turn our backs on each other. She has offered an optimistic vision based on her patriotism, her belief in this country. This is a woman who's dedicated her life to public service, to helping people, starting in her days early with the Children's Defense Fund as First Lady. We're talking about that as well as what she's going to do for families going forward. I think we've got the much more substantive, serious campaign that is talking about the kind of country we want to be, and it is a country that believes that we are stronger together, not when we're at each other's backs.
Let me ask you this final question. What do you tell people that are, I'm sure you've heard from some nervous Nelly Democrats in the last 48 hours.
No, that nervous Nelly Democrats, Chuck, you got to be kidding.
What do you tell them when you say, how can you be losing to this guy?
Well,
how do you respond to that?
I don't believe we're losing to this guy. I believe we're in a tight race with this guy. We have had a plan all the way through to keep the map, the number of states we have to win to get to 271 electoral votes, very aggressive. As I said earlier, I tell them we are in offense in more states. They are playing defense because their paths to 270 are limited. We think we're going into a phase here with 8 weeks to go, the next big events are the debates. We believe actually coming out of the Commander-in-Chief Forum, notwithstanding all the hubbub and the focus on the media that night, that she demonstrated to the country that she is fit and ready to be Commander-in-Chief, and he isn't. That he is now entangled in a web of financial dealings that Newsweek disclosed this week.
For what it's worth, since that forum, his numbers have gone up, not down.
Well, we'll see how that bears out, Chuck. I'll be back next week, I'm sure, and we'll see what's happening here.
All right, Joe, I better let you go. I know I've got to get to a break here.
All right, so yeah, Joel had he had his own Clinton spin, which that's expected because every time the Trump guys get on, they have their spin too. His isn't as heavy duty and fact-free as most of the Trump surrogates are. One thing I will note, though, Clinton got out there today, and she went on the Tom Joyner show, which reaches approximately 8 million African Americans across the country, and she did a pretty decent job in that interview.